Welcome back to Absolute Comics. My name is Benny, that is Sal, and our behind-the-scenes voice in the sky, Arnie Pie. We've got Dan sitting in to talk about today's topic. You're our Arnie Pie in the sky, Dan.
Good old Arnie Pie.
Yep. Today's episode is brought to you by two of our sponsors, Gamer Supps. Get yourself some amazing energy drinks that is less chalky than its competitors. Get yourself some waifu cups and get yourself some waifu clothing by going to gamersupps.com. And they've also now got Sus Bars, which are basically Rice Krispie treats with really awesome macros. But they've also got a Black Friday sale coming up this week. And by the time you watch this episode, it will be before the Black Friday sale. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff happening over at Gamer Supps, and orders over $50 will come with a free waifu cup. So if you were on the fence, if you wanted to get yourself a hot anime girl on a cup, they're all right there. I mean, I could just go get them. I've replaced my background with anime cups. But if you were on the fence, just go get the energy drink this weekend. They're going to send it to you, and you are going to fall in love with your first waifu. Trust me, Dan did this way. Now, Dan did not like anime until the waifu cups. But on top of that, our other sponsor is Into the AM. These incredibly soft shirts you see me wearing almost every episode of Absolutely Marvel and DC. Yeah, they're doing a Black Friday sale as well. And what I love about Into the AM is they come up with these unique designs. Like this one, we have the geisha one that I was wearing for a little while, and we have another one that I've got upstairs. But they also make great normal t-shirts. The shirts are soft. They fit my awkwardly shaped body that has like half a beer gut, but I'm like half dad bod. And if I work out too much, I suddenly turn into The Rock. Yeah, that's me. So that's my description. But yeah, the shirts are great. They're super soft, and I highly recommend them. They're also running a Black Friday sale. Both ads will be down below, so please consider checking it out. Now, last thing I want to say is before we get into today's podcast is if you're watching this on the Absolutely Marvel and DC channel, for the month of December, we will not be filming live episodes on Tuesdays. These are normally filmed live every Tuesday at twitch.tv/comicstorian on about 5 p.m. Eastern. To alleviate our work schedule, everything's being front-loaded. Well, not really alleviate, but to front-load our week and have kind of a chill week for the month of December, everything will be filmed on Monday. So if you're looking for the live episodes, that is where they will be until after the New Year's. Woo! All right.
All right, we did it.
I got through all of those announcements.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, DC's rebooting. Cool. So I'll see you guys later.
No, it's not rebooting.
I mean, that's what I'm calling it. It's one of those like light reboots, basically, is what it boils down to.
I assume it's a soft reboot.
Yeah, it's a soft reboot. I'm looking at
about this. It's more like an initiative. It seems like, because this will be like the second year in a row that Joshua Williamson gets to decide like what we're doing after the big thing. Because after Death Metal, Joshua Williamson's like, Infinite Frontier. And everyone's like, what is that? And he's like, yeah. And then we had that. And then we had the Dark Crisis. And he's like, Dawn of DC. And everyone's like, what is that? And he's like, eh. And here it is.
Well, it's actually funny. So what's going on right now in DC is Dark Crisis. And as much as I am enjoying Dark Crisis, I have been very adamant about how long it's taking to get through Dark Crisis. Because they just seemingly like... I keep forgetting that it's even a thing. Case in point, when we were talking about it like 2 weeks ago, Sal, we both missed the Deadly Green, which is like an actual part of it. Like
it was a really important chapter that explained a plot point in the last issue of Dark Crisis. I should point out, Dark Crisis has been drawn and written by the same people. Yeah. Consistently put out. No delays. No whatever. And to their credit, not a lot of tie-ins either, which I really appreciate. The problem is, and it's entirely the fault of DC Comics, or as they like to call themselves, DC, doesn't screw up search algorithms at all to force yourself to be called DC and to drop the comics label. But they have not pushed it. DC Comics I'm forced to assume that DC Comics does not believe in this. And the reason I'm forced to do that is because they have not promoted it. And when I say they haven't promoted it, I don't want to see some half-assed graphic that is basically a repurposed cover on the blocked ads I never see on an already established comic book news website. I mean, I haven't seen any...
Wait, we're talking about Dark Crisis, right?
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, no promotion. Okay. No promotion about Dark Crisis.
This goes into another rant that I'm just going to be making at some point, but and I've said this multiple times. What is going on with DC's marketing department? They're not promoting Dark Crisis. I don't see it promoted anywhere except in the comics. So So right now we discovered a problem that I apparently have at Comic Storian. So you might be wondering why Comic Storian's gotten lower and lower. And like I took a big break of almost a year. I took a year off basically, and that's what I've attributed the drop in views to. That combined with the lack of interest. What I discovered from our YouTube partner manager is we have somehow cannibalized ourselves. So somehow, if you go to Comic Storian, you will only get Comic Storian recommendations. But if you get out of our circle, you don't get them. And she confirmed that is the problem we're having. Somehow, we don't get recommended from other channels. We only get recommended from ourselves.
Why would that be the case?
They don't know. The engineers are looking into how that happened. And they think it might have something to do with when I broke it through the shorts, is basically what happened.
Love it. I love when YouTube is like, I don't
know what you did.
I don't know what we did. I don't know.
But her exact response was, that's really interesting, and I've never seen that before.
Classic. Love that.
But anyway, what I'm getting at is that's kind of what DC is doing. If you're in DC, you'll see the Dark Crisis promotion, or you'll see the Adventures of the Super Son movie. Yeah. But if you're not in DC, you're not seeing it anywhere. Like, you're not getting brought into their circle. And that's the problem they have right now. Dark Crisis is referenced in a Batman book as something that is happening after the Failsafe event. Cool. Yeah. If I'm reading Batman, I know it's a thing.
Right.
But if I'm not reading Batman, you haven't told me that there's earth-shattering events going on in DC right now.
No. Worst yet, they haven't. It's not like there's somebody at the helm, because we've had management at DC who've played favorites and who have promoted one thing over another thing.
Yeah.
Right now, we had 2 massive events at DC Comics that ran at the same time. One finished, and the other one is still going. That's Dark Crisis and Flashpoint Beyond, made by 2 prominent creators at DC. One of whom is like an independent contractor. Other one is clearly like a DC guy. And Flashpoint Beyond references Dark Crisis, in as much as they say, don't worry, it all wraps up fine. And then that's it. And I'm like, how offensive? Not only is editorial not going like, hey, don't do that, or yeah, that's really not okay, don't put that in there, but marketing hasn't promoted either of those events.
Yeah.
It's not like Flashpoint Beyond got a really big push.
Flashpoint Beyond didn't even get that big of a push. That blew my mind, because Flashpoint is still one of like DC's like, this is our biggest thing. Everyone loves Flashpoint Beyond. Same thing with Batman Beyond. There's literally White Knight mixed with Batman Beyond and a Batman Beyond book.
Yeah.
And a Batman Beyond book, and they're not hearing about it anywhere.
No.
Like, everyone's like, oh man, I can't wait for them to bring back Batman Beyond. He's in 2 books!
Yeah. There is no marketing. Or if there is marketing, I don't know what they're doing.
Right.
I think the marketing exists. I think they're not being told what matters. So they don't know what to market.
They're the marketers.
Yeah.
Like I feel, well, because they're going through, and I think they're looking at it like what you're saying, like Flashpoint Beyond and then Dark Crisis on Infinite Earth, and they're like, which one's going to matter? Because we've kind of been told Flashpoint Beyond does not matter.
Right.
For the if they put all that money in that, like,
Dan, if you read the Golden Age comic, Flashpoint Beyond did matter, because now we have like whole new characters.
Yeah. It really, the worst of it is the problem that lies there, and this is what should get DC's attention, is that we're taking the marketing out of their hands, because what does the audience say is how they know about this stuff? From third-party groups. I'm talking about us. You know, they watch us and they're like, oh, okay, that's what's coming out. I honestly didn't even know. Honestly, remember the Death of Superman 30th anniversary comic book that came out like 2 weeks ago? And
I barely heard
everybody was like, it's a reprint of Death of Superman. Why would I want to pick that up? No. It's actually 4 original stories made by the original creators from the Death of Superman. That's an anthology that has 4 new stories in it. Nobody had no idea. And I did a Twitter poll, and obviously, that's got its own baggage, but I did a Twitter poll. 70% of the audience, that's over 500 people, were like, I didn't even know it was an original thing. I thought it was a reprint.
Well, it didn't help that they were black bagging it.
Some of them were black bagged, and that was just like a, kind of like, and again, it came with stuff just like the original one did. Their marketing for it was, it's the Death of Superman again, that there was no marketing. It was just that they did it. You know, it would be like if this is an old reference, but like there was this Marvel Comics event called Original Sin where they gouged out the Watcher's eyes, and as a marketing tool, Marvel sent rubber balls in the form of the Watcher's eyeballs to comic book stores. And so when you bought your copy of Original Sin,
I remember that.
Yeah, remember these eyeballs? They was 2015, something like that. But like, it would be like if Marvel just sent them with no letter or explanation. Like, that was the Death of Superman 30th anniversary polybags. They were like, here, what is this? It's the Death of Superman. I know, but like, what about it though? It's 30 years old. Okay, but like, what's in this?
We were picking up Pokemon cards, Dan and I literally saw the black baggie, and I had a comment about like, didn't they celebrate this like 25 or something like that, like a few years ago? Right. And the guy's like, oh yeah, I think it was like a few years ago, maybe not 25, maybe the 20th one. I'm like, I've been reading for a while, and I didn't buy it because I was like, it's not new.
No,
I don't need another black bagged Superman book.
Exactly.
And then talking to the retailer, he didn't tell me it was a brand new book or something.
Because he didn't open it. He didn't know. And that, like, if
I mean, on top of that, that store also told me that DC's going to be shutting down, which I found hilarious. But
it was that play. Yes, I know which one you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Idiot. But like, you know,
it wasn't the owner. It was his other staff. But we were walking out, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I heard through the rumor mill that DC's just going to stop making comics." And I'm like, I don't even want to get in this argument.
Yeah. Good thing you work here. Good thing you're actually like a comic book retailer and have direct access to the audience to give them this kind of really
I can see that you sell more Magic cards than Pokemon. I'll just come buy these and we'll call it a day. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like my point isn't like about, you know, whether it was great or not. My point is just like it's across the board. Yeah. Like DC's marketing is just like, nah. And so we're getting this Dawn of DC. And how
which is where this is all leading to, which is where Dan will have a lot more to say.
Yeah.
So there's been nothing like for a year. DC's been pretty much dead in the water because even though awesome stuff has been happening, they are telling us like what's going on.
No, and honestly, they burned through our good faith with death metal. DC is still licking their wounds from burning their audience from death metal. After that, the audience is like, I need a break. I need a minute. I need to be told what matters and what's important. And like, I guarantee you that there might be some like communique from DC between the end of death metal and the beginning of Infinite Frontier, where somebody got in front of a microphone and said, "It's all really important." And that was just when the audience threw up their hands and was like, "No."
Well, because they moved that into Future State, and those leaks that it was 5G and they were replacing everyone got every audience, like that got the anti-woke crowd, that got the woke crowd, and that got the just general readers angry. Like everyone is like, I don't want 5G.
Right.
Like that was something I was thinking about yesterday, and because I was getting into another one of those arguments with the anti-woke crowd, and like they were like, "Don't you want to pick a side?" And I'm like, you know, some of us just want to read books, and if we like it, we read it, and if we don't like it, we don't read it, and I don't give a shit what's happening in it. If it's good, I'll read it. If it's not, it's not.
And there's enough books to go around. It's not like that book supplants a book you want.
Every book that I read doesn't need to be like, well, I don't know if I stand with this writer's agenda. No, I go, man, didn't like this one. I won't get the next issue. That's the end of it. Like, that's the end of it. Like,
right. If I want to get really deep into it, I'll be like, oh, no, it's that writer again. I don't want to read that one. And I won't. End of story. I'm a grown-up.
But what I'm getting at is 5G was the big replacement of every superhero across the board. And I feel like even though it didn't happen, everyone kind of felt it did with Future State.
It was worse. It didn't happen, but leading up to it, no one at DC would say what they were going to do, and it was in between when DiDio got sacked. And so you had DiDio, who's a volatile force in that company, who was very vociferous and really had his own like agendas going on. And so when he got in front of the microphone, he'd be saying things like, it's the end of Batman, it's the end of Superman, it's the end of Wonder Woman, we're doing all this stuff, this, that, and the other thing. And people are like, oh, that's the only voice I'm hearing is just DiDio yelling in my face about how it's like, Black Batman, gay Wonder Woman, it's going to be great. And it's like, whoa. Like, first of all, quit yelling at me. And secondly, like what is like what's the plan though? What's the story? And he's like, I don't got one, I don't give a crap. And then he's fired, and now no one at DC wants to be like, there's going to be some books coming out, and you might want to really read them because they're really good. Like, no one is even saying that. Chip Zdarsky works for both Marvel and DC, and nobody's talking about it from either company. Nobody's like, yay, look at this. Look at how much, like, you know, also, by the way.
Chip Zdarsky's writing Daredevil and Batman. Everyone's, like, ignoring it. Like, what?
Nobody's talking about that. Like you didn't spend the last 20 years pitting Marvel and DC against each other in a really, like, tumultuous period in comics. and then go, oh, by the way, one of the top writing talents of the last 10 years is writing a flagship title for Marvel and DC, and it's just your business as usual. I mean, like, I would like it to be business as usual, but like, it's not even blasé. It's just it's like no one's talking about anything.
Yeah. So anyway, that is now leading to them actually promoting something. This reminds me of a soft reboot in the manner of Rebirth. That's the vibe I'm getting off of this. Like, it's not a true rebirth.
I'm getting an Infinite Frontier vibe out of this thing, where it's just like, here's what's going to happen in the next year.
Okay.
Right? Like,
I'm getting a slower rollout Rebirth vibe from this.
I guarantee you I'm wrong. So, like, I'm looking forward to seeing what this is all about. I mean, like, they gave us a graphic, which is very DC. You know, it's got some original art in there. It was like DC. Remember when DC used to be like, here is a straight up poster that teases what's happening next, drawn by Phil Jimenez. Like, it's just like Superman's crying, there's a torn cape. Whose cape is it? What's that all about? What's this character in the background? Like, it was just this Where's Waldo of Easter eggs. This is just like, oh, look, it's Brainiac's skull ship tentacles. Cool.
The first thing I want to do is, okay, so we're doing Dark Crisis. We're going into Lazarus Planet? What even is that? Is that happening
DC
already?
Universe Lazarus Planet event?
Okay, so it hasn't started yet, because I saw that and I'm like, am I missing another event because they're not promoting it? Like,
well, they won't, so you might. But for right now, at least,
I feel like it's going to be the December line-wide thing, like they did with that when the Frost guy came by, and just it was like a quick
Endless
little
Winter.
Thing. Yeah, Endless Winter, which was a fun story, but it was just inconsequential, and it was just completely a way to get Black Adam to be more heroic. That was the whole point.
Dude, Endless Winter was their apology event where they were like, all right, so we pissed off a lot of people with death metal. How about this?
Yep. So I'm hoping that's what this is. I'm fine with Lazarus Planet, but that's where we move into what I'm calling the secondary rebirth, a soft reboot, that kind of a thing. They're going to take whatever comes out of Dark Crisis, whatever comes out, because they say out of Dark Crisis and Lazarus Planet.
Yeah.
This is what's happening. Every month is going to be focused on key books coming out, and we have key art for these. And
right. By the way, the next, it was like Superman, got it. What am I looking at? And then I realized it's Doom Patrol, and I'm like, oh, okay. Because I looked up that logo, and I'm like, I've never seen that before in my life. I get that it's a D and a P. Like, okay, cool, that's Doom Patrol. But like, huh?
Well, I actually like this. So we got Superman first, okay?
Which is cool, because it's usually been Batman. Nice.
Which is what I'm surprised about, because as much as I love Batman, I've always felt like Superman is DC. That S is more iconic as a DC thing. Batman is so beyond DC. He's like his own franchise within DC.
Warner Brothers literally looks at as Batman as a James Bond IP they own. It's not like they look at Batman as like. That's why Batman never had any other cameos in his movies. I guarantee Warner Brothers executives are like, you mean Green Lantern and Batman are in the same universe? Like, no. Yeah. So, like, as far as Warner Brothers is concerned, Batman is its own separate IP. Like, if Warner Brothers was actually in trouble, they could sell Batman and they would think about it. Just being like, oh, we could sell all of DC and keep Batman. Like, that's how separate he is, and yet how integral to the DC universe he is.
So I love the fact that we're not putting a focus on Batman. Also, I think this is 3 more months for Failsafe to end.
I was going to say, I think it's more along the lines of that the Batman's got so many things going right now that they're like, okay, let's just let that end while we'll start this other stuff, and then we'll weave it in there.
Failsafe has time to end. Batman versus Robin has time to end.
Yeah, and good, by the way, like, good, give it breathing room.
Yeah,
there's other characters in this universe. I think only about 1,000, so you might have to really pick and choose. But try. Maybe with, like, I don't know, Superman. And then there we go. Superman opens with
So
Superman.
I think that's great. I also like that we're going from well-known to more obscure. Like, look, I'm a fan of Doom Patrol, the show. I like the comic. But they're not well-known.
Right. It's a smart move, because Doom Patrol is one of those things where it's like, it's technically on the fringe, but it also has a show that's won, like, awards. And is in the zeitgeist. Like, people are in some way, if they're in the know at all, aware of Doom Patrol. So it's like there's a little bit of cross-pollination, smart move, plus a little bit of also synergy. Doom Patrol were key cameos in the Batman Superman World's Finest series, which is written by Mark Waid, and Mark Waid also is writing Batman vs Superman, and the villain in both those books is the same character. So I'm like, oh, like there's some cross pollination there. Like we're seeing.
You mean Batman versus Robin?
Yes, I'm sorry, Batman versus. Okay. I'm so used to saying Batman versus Superman at this point.
Yeah,
it's Batman versus Robin. That's the event. But yes, or mini rather. But yeah, so Doom Patrol, great idea, and then you can see.
Well, I like this one because Green Lantern's kind of had a 10-year of like nothing important happening. They've tried so many times to get Green Lantern going again.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't gained the same steam it had with Jeff Johns. So they're combining them with Green Arrow, who's
great
another
idea.
one who has like, and I this is theory crafting. What's one of the best runs for Green Arrow and Green Lantern from the past?
That one.
Green Arrow, Green Lantern in the past. So what if they're coming out together so they can kind of cross-pollinate a little? What do you think?
That's such a good idea. It's a brilliant idea because both books, I think, have floundered to like to a degree where the audience is hungry and desperate for their stories, but also they haven't been given one that they can really like key in on that hasn't been written in the last 10 years. So save some money, make one book, Green Lantern, Green Arrow. Either you put them together and you do a kind of like Hard Traveling Heroes 2.0, or you do that plus a Green Arrow, Green Lantern story. You know, because like DC is...
I'm fine with just a story. Just have them go over. What do you think, Dan? Because I know we're kind of moving through... Because we're going to go through the writers and everything else for each of these runs. I just want to look at the order they're announcing.
Right. The Green Arrow and Green Lantern, I think, is good, especially if they're going to be separate books, because it gives you something new on both spectrums of super-powered in space, over the top, as well as street level, no powers, using your knowledge and like strategy and stuff. And I think that's a good combo.
Now, I took this as monthly, but I realize there's no dates here.
There aren't. Do you think? I think monthly. I think it's smart because, like, look, it only says 2023. Yeah. So it's like, if we actually did the math here, it's like if we did the spacing, it's like there's 4 lines.
There's 4 lines announced, and there's 3 more that they're showing us. One of them looks damaged.
Yes. Yeah.
So that means that this would get us to like July. This would be an entire opening year.
Well, and as you can see, these like Brainiac tentacles start at Superman and they go to the end of the line. My guess is this whole thing is going to like everything that happens in Superman, Doom Patrol, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Batman, Shazam,
interwoven.
It's all interwoven, and it's going to lead towards this thing that's happening at the end of the year. Boom.
Yes. I'm excited. Dude, that's what we needed.
Yes.
Look, I'm all for separate storylines. I am. And what I love, and this is what the MCU did, you make everything separate, and you just imply a grander picture. We don't need Brainiac showing up at every single one of these.
No.
We don't. But to just be like, oh, Green Lantern's fighting a new villain that was augmented by Brainiac.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, Green Arrow happened to come... Well, Green Arrow's adventure, and I'll explain what it's about, but I don't even know how Brady's tie into that. Maybe that's where he is right now. Who knows?
Can I just say, it would be hilarious. Like, you know what's hilarious about this? This is a great initiative for the DC comic book publishing line. But it would also be a really good timeline for the DC cinematic universe.
What if it's going to be similar?
It was like Superman, a Doom Patrol movie, a Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Hard Traveling Heroes movie, a Batman, Shazam, Hawkman movie, and then like and then Justice League.
That's Shazam!
It's Shazam.
I thought that was Flash.
It's not Flash. No, there's no Flash, which I guess like makes sense, but we're getting the Flash. I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll get to it eventually. But yeah, so the next one on this list is going to be Batman, Shazam, and Hawkman. Yeah. So what I'm noticing is they're like, Batman's the big one. Shazam does okay. Hawkman, let's try again. Like
yes, Hawkman 2.0. We're trying again. 4.0, 5.0.
Like 4.0?
It's like 10.0.
Dan, what .0 is this?
I don't even know anymore. There's so many .0s.
Yeah.
So
are you sure it's Hawkman?
Yeah, that's Hawkman. That's definitely Hawkman.
That's what I thought. I'm looking through the article and I'm not seeing.
Well, we're gonna get to that now.
Breakdown.
Hawkman.
So for those who are wondering about what they're gonna do with Superman, let's start with that one right there. Okay, kicking off in Action Comics, a new era of the Man of Steel. Look, I love John Kent as Superman. I think the book's okay. I'm not a fan of the book directly, just because a lot of what's happening in it. Mm-hmm. Honestly, just the whole eco-terrorism and all. I'm just like, it's not what I want in a Superman book.
Mm-hmm.
But
fair.
It looks like we're getting back Superman. We're getting back, like, there. Which one? Yeah, there. Which one's John?
We're getting like a Superman family book.
We're getting a Superman and Adventures of Superman, John Kent.
Okay. Oh no, there's John right there. Okay, so they're finally changing John's outfit, so it's not confusing anymore.
Right. Yeah. No,
So-
John's gonna get his own outfit. They're gonna get.
So we
a whole
got
bunch of different
Superman
heroes.
and what looks like a Superman versus Lex versus whatever this thing is. Livewire is making a return.
Yay.
One of the fan favorites from the show. Banshee's coming back.
Good.
Lois, Jimmy, Perry. I don't know who this guy is.
By the way, not only that, but I've seen a couple of other like promos for this where we're seeing Superman undress as Clark Kent and become Superman. I'm betting we're getting the identity back in the bottle for this one.
Oh, maybe that's something that comes out of Lazarus Planet or something like that.
Lazarus
Maybe-
Planet could be a thing where they're like, we're undoing the Bendis-isms.
And I like this. They're giving new looks to the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actual individuality.
Yes.
So this is a big change. Apparently, John's going to be the new blue Superman, which will
Yeah, that's-
100% change things up for him.
I love it. I'm like, yeah, good. Make him blue.
Well, I like it because it's going to make it unique. Because the problem I run into right now with John Kent's Superman is if I'm going to read Superman, who just is Superman,
Right.
I'm just going to... John Kent has his own story and his own thing, but it's just more Superman, which for me, I've always found Superman stories hit or miss.
Right.
So now you want me to invest in two of them.
It's hard to sell one Superman comic unless it's 1993, in which case we have 4.
Yeah.
But, here's 2 Supermen. They both are the same person.
Identical.
Yeah, it's too much.
One thing I liked about John as a kid, which they got rid of, was the I don't know how to control my powers aspect.
Oof.
Which I felt made it kind of interesting.
That
And
was
then
fun as a
John's-
kid, but as a teenager, it's like, no, that's not fun.
Right, well, he came back as a teenager, and it's like, oh, he's just got control.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can also tell, by the way, that the progenitor of this is a child of the 90s because everyone has awesome jackets.
I like that.
Can we have pouches, too?
Lots of pouches and belts.
Yeah, at least
We'll get
belts.
to that. So next up, the next one on the run. So, Worlds Without Justice League. That says March. Citing new era. Change the format. I'm looking for the dates to see if the dates.
Oh, yeah. I
Okay,
didn't-
January is Action Comics.
Yes.
The reboot of Superman. Okay. It's got Dan Jurgens, Leah Williams. Superman 1 will be out in February from writer Joshua Williamson after Dark Crisis. Artist Jamal Campbell. Clark Kent is settling back in his life while iconic and new enemies erupt from the shadows behind him. John Kent also has to forge his own path and take on the man responsible for his kidnap and torture, Ultraman. Oh, that is going to be
Hey!
And look who it's written by, too.
Tom. I'm fine with that.
Like,
Who's
yeah.
going to die?
Yeah, right?
See, that's unique. That's how you do this. You don't just have John go be Superman and Superman go elsewhere. You go, okay, Superman, you do Superman. Here's what else we can do with John.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I might finally start reading John books.
Right?
All right, so that's going to lead to Doom Patrol.
Yes, new Doom
Spinning
Patrol.
directly out of Lazarus Planet comes the world's strangest hero, saving the world by saving its monsters. First mainline series in over a decade. I think the last one was the Animal something?
Young Animal Run,
Young
yeah.
Animal Run, yeah. Doom
Yeah.
Patrol returns an unstoppable Doom Patrol in March. So, maybe that's the whole year.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is the whole year. I mean, like these are ongoing titles, I'm betting.
Yeah. It's going to be brand new stuff. Get it off the
Yeah.
ground. So we got Doom Patrol coming out in March. I'm excited. Doom Patrol's always been fun because they don't fit into anything. So when they
Right.
finally get wedged in, like with Batman versus Batman versus
World's
not
Finest.
Robin, World's Finest. I was like, oh, Doom Patrol's in this one. That was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I also saw in this article, by the way, they're talking about the Green Arrow run.
Yeah,
Joshua
we'll get into that.
Williamson's taken over that.
Yeah, well, I read ahead on that, and we'll get to it in a minute. But
Yeah.
basically, because Green Arrow is technically missing / dead,
Right.
so the book is about the family trying to get him, find where he is, which
interesting.
might explain how Brainiac's involved in that book.
Yeah, that's true.
Then we got a Superboy limited run.
Good. Keep it limited. Make it tight. Make it fun. Great
Yeah.
Great cover.
So Connor Kent leaves Earth behind, but his journey to self-discovery brings him face to face with a group of freedom fighters who challenge not just everything Connor stands for, but what it means to be Superman.
Cool.
That's April. So we get
Intergalactic Superman. Great idea. But we have enough Supermen. So it's like,
do all the different ideas with them, and it's great.
yeah.
DC round Robin winner. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot that was a thing. DC and then Green Lanterns 2023 will both be Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. Now,
okay.
this is the thing everyone's going crazy about.
Yeah.
Mariko Tamaki. And honestly, I'm just going to say it. Grow up. Like,
Right. I think she did a great job on Detective.
Okay, so here's the thing. Everyone's freaking out about a book called I Am Starfire. Okay?
Yeah.
I Am Starfire. I am not going to defend that as some amazing piece of art.
You can't really, but
no. But here's the thing. I Am Starfire is not written for you, Sal, me, or Dan. I Am Starfire is some kid's book about being empowered even though your parents don't matter.
Right.
It's an out-of-continuity thing that DC hired her to write because she's known for writing books for kids. I think that's what her thing
her original thing was.
Right. And if I will agree, if this is the only thing she has ever written and they were giving her this, I would be like, okay, you're right. That's a problem. What I'm finding hilarious is the amount of people that have hit me up in DMs like, oh my God, she wrote this. Can we trust her? Yes, because you haven't done any research and you're freaking out over a children's book.
Yeah, you didn't read the Detective Run, which was really cool.
Right, she did a really good job with Detective Run. Yeah. She's also written X-23. That run wasn't great, but at least, it wasn't a terrible run. Remember that one, Dan?
I mean, it was terrible because she renamed Honey Badger to Scout.
Yeah, that sucks.
Anyway.
There was a lot of other issues with that run that was obviously a Marvel hierarchy, like she has to be X-23. Why?
We're not going to tell you, and you're not going to tell the audience, so don't worry about it.
Like there were so many things in that was obviously Marvel hierarchy, but she also so even if you're like, hey, she wrote a bad X-23, she wrote a bad kids book. She also wrote Dark Detective, which then became the Detective Comics run.
Yeah.
Which, you know what I mean? Like, she's done quite a bit. She's gone back and forth on good books and bad books, but her writing Dark Detective and Batman has proven to me that she can write a good one.
Yeah.
So unless she's trying to make some crazy thing. Now, here's what I find funny about this. They decided to flag her as, well, she's the writer of Crush and Lobo. Why would you?
It's her most recent one.
I guess, it's the most recent book. Except she also wrote One Bad Day, one of them. The second one, I think. But
what I'm getting at with the My Grow Up comment is everyone in the world wants to be like, oh no, I can improve, I can get better, I can get better, I can get better. We've literally followed her career since 2016. She has been writing good stuff. So why are we to this day going to go, right, but she wrote a bad kids book
that I
a
never
year
read.
and a half ago. Like, it's a bad kids book, Benny.
Okay.
Cool. What did you do 2 years ago?
Right. Yeah, it's stupid.
Now, does this automatically mean Green Lantern Hal Jordan is going to be amazing? No, I don't know what she's going to do with it. Maybe he's going to have long hair and a gauntlet again, and she's not going to say why.
Well, it looks like she's just on Hal Jordan, though.
Right.
Yeah.
John Stewart is written by Philip Kennedy, who I know from something.
Philip Kennedy Johnson.
What's he from?
He's from the War World story for our Action Comics.
I like how they don't give him anything in the article, though.
Yeah.
They're just like, Philip Kennedy Johnson. You know who he is. Don't worry about it.
Classic.
But yeah, that's all I'm getting at with that. Everyone wants to give her crap for something she wrote a year and a half ago. By the time this book comes out, it'll be 2 years. And it's like, oh, but she wrote a kid's book at one point. That was terrible. So who cares?
But my masters online tell me that I need to be mad about it.
Yeah.
And how many of those people actually read that book? Of these people that are complaining, I doubt any of them actually read the comic.
That's
they
right.
just saw it and were like,
it's not a comic yet. It's a book. It's an actual physical book.
That's right.
Out of context.
But it's still like, none of them read it.
And she did a great run at Detective Comics. That run was great. I loved what she did with that. So, okay. And then John Stewart, what I like about this is he's going back to the basics of the military-trained, gritty but heroic Green Lantern. Now, like I said before, my complaint with the last one for John Stewart just felt lazy. Oh, take away his powers. The one thing that he is known for outside of being in the military. Take away that, and we're going to show him growing without his ring. Cool. That's not been done before as a Green Lantern story. Whatever. So, moving forward, we have Oliver Queen, been lost since the Dark Crisis of Earth. His family is determined to find him, but dangerous forces are determined to keep them away at all costs. Okay, Dan, if I remember correctly, you're a fan of Green Arrow back when you first started doing the comic stuff with me, right?
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you feel about Green Arrow making his return in April?
I'm excited about it. Green Arrow is always one of those characters that I feel has a lot of potential because he's got the badassery of Batman, but has a more joking attitude in a lot of times, and it just fits better with his stories as opposed to Batman, where it's like you get the lightheartedness, but it's usually because Dick Grayson showed up for the issue.
Yep.
And so I that's one thing I always actually really enjoyed about Oliver Queen Green Arrow is that there's just always that little bit of jokiness to it. So I'm excited to see what comes out of it. Plus, it's got the artist for Thunderbolts, which if I'm remembering the correct run, I like that art. So.
What do you think, Sal? Green Arrow.
Sounds good.
He hasn't had it ongoing in a very long time, has he?
Yeah, I don't think so, but like I don't read Green Arrow too often. I am disappointed it isn't our pitch of a Hard Traveling Heroes Green Arrow Green Lantern book that saves you money.
That doesn't mean that they can't have a crossover eventually. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and I'm sure they will. But I would take I would take a combo book over 2 or 3 separate books because it's a John Stewart book and a Hal Jordan book and a Green Arrow book. But listen, I'll read it. I'm going to check it out.
One thing that I'm excited about is that since Joshua Williamson's doing this, we're probably going to get an excuse as to where Connor Hawke has been. He's going to explain that some.
That's very... I mean, if Connor Hawke appeared in the Robin run by Joshua Williamson, I feel like Connor is going to be a major player in this run.
That's what I'm saying, and I've been wondering because he didn't touch on how he's back or what he's doing. It was just there.
He was just there.
So
they explained it a little bit, but not in a... it wasn't about him.
So Batman Brave and the Bold, the art is incredible on this. I love this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, great cover.
Tom King is back on Batman. You know, everyone gave him shit for his 100-issue Batman run that ended at like 75.
Wait, what?
But he's not left. He hasn't stopped writing Batman. He just went into Batman and Catwoman, and now he's doing Batman Brave and the Bold. Like,
no, I know. Once he got off the main title, everyone's like, "Yay, Tom King again!" Including myself, by the way. I was like, "No." Once he stopped doing Batman, but like kept doing Batman, but over there, everything else was amazing. And I was like, "I'm good. I'm good now."
I think the problem with his Batman is, and it comes down to my argument a long time ago that I've had multiple times. What version is the version that we all definitively have decided this is Batman? And his just acted out of character from the general consensus of what Batman is. I think is the problem.
Yeah. Oh, his Batman. The problem was, some people, when you read a book that's in the DC universe, obviously someone's going to throw Batman in there, and in those books, those other books, Superman books, Green Arrow books, whatever, where Batman shows up. He's a guest star who has to put on airs because he's like, I'm not really here. You're not going to see me be Bruce Wayne. You're not going to see me in the Batcave or interacting with my dog. Like, I'm going to be just Batman.
Right.
And so he's like a humorless dick in all those books. And then Tom King wrote him like that, but in the main book.
Right.
So he's like, this is me all the time. And then it's like, occasionally he'll go like, here's a random joke at the expense of Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is weird. I like you, but this is weird. And I don't like this. I don't like this Batman. Especially after the 5-year run of Snyder being like, Batman is a kind of young quip machine.
Yep.
But anyway.
So in May, we're getting Batman Brave and the Bold, which is going to be Tales of the Dark Knight and core story. So we're back to kind of what they do with Detective, which makes me kind of curious what's going on with Detective if you're just doing Detective again.
Honestly, I would just keep Detective as it is. Let Ram V do whatever the hell he wants. Keep that cover scheme and just do that.
Just keep doing that one.
This looks like they're going with that Batman Urban Legends model,
format,
but all of them are just Batman.
The fact that Urban Legends is still going shocks me. Me because Batman's barely in it. Oh, it's amazing! I love the story, the book, but Batman's barely in it, but it's still going.
Good idea.
That brings us to Shazam, because I missed the lightning. Why they both got lightning bolts? Why they both got to do that?
Right? I know.
Well, you skipped one. Cyborg is getting his own series.
Oh, he didn't get art.
Good for him.
Nope, he's got a small little paragraph, and it's just like, he's getting his own series in May. Okay, it's on to Shazam.
Cool. Put him on the Titans and move on.
You know what the best part is? There's nothing. Victor, Dark Crisis has changed Victor Stone. Now, as Dawn of DC rises, he might hold the future to Earth. He might hold the secret to Earth's future. He's getting his own series, and that's the end of it. That's no art, no blurb, no nothing.
And they don't even over here. They haven't decided who the team is. They're like, inmate from a talent team to be revealed later.
That's definitely what it is. They're like, we don't know. We offered it to somebody. They didn't say yes right away.
We just know that we want Cyborg out in May. That's what that is. Like,
Yep.
We might not.
Okay, so now, but here's the whole. Okay, so we get this blob right here. Okay, Billy Batson is champion of the action comedy comic about a boy's powers that can rival Superman's, and a whole lot of left of growing up to do. So it looks like he's just going to be back to just Billy Batson, because that was my only complaint with the recent run, where Jeff Johns tried to make it like a whole family ordeal and all this crazy stuff. And
Have you noticed how this happens with Shazam? Like every time we get Shazam, he goes through some big change. Like we had like the Darkseid War where all of his gods changed to a different pantheon of gods. We've got literally right now, there's a comic with Mary Marvel where it's like, hey, Mary, you're now the only champion for Shazam. And then they're like, hey, in 2 months, no, none of that's going to matter. We're going back to original Shazam. And by the time we change it, we'll start him over again.
I think the problem is they can't get Shazam to sell. Like, they just keep... I loved that Darkseid War changeover that kind of altered his power so he didn't exactly mimic Superman anymore.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, I know you're not the biggest Shazam fan.
Me? Yeah, I don't care. Honest. I mean, not like I don't care about the conversation, but like, you know, I mean, him riding a dinosaur. That's a great looking dinosaur. So it's like for me, I'm like the art's really good looking. I hope it's consistent. You know, I don't read. No, it would take a lot of work to get me to read a Shazam book.
Yeah,
like a lot of work. And like I don't expect them to do it.
You want to talk about a book that's going to take a lot of work to get you to read it? The Penguin by Tom King.
Nope, Tom King's writing it. I'm going to read The Penguin. Sorry.
The Penguin is forced back into organized crime by the U.S. government. Okay,
I'll read that.
That's an interesting, like a Suicide Squad with the Penguin. I like it.
Yeah, no, I'm reading it. Like, yeah, I'll read that. Normally I wouldn't. Like, I don't want a Penguin TV show either. But like,
yeah. If it's Tom King and it's a limited series, usually those do turn out really well at the end.
It doesn't say limited.
I'm just going to assume. There's only so much you can do about the Penguin, especially...
Next up, we've got Steelworks. Basically, John Henry Irons was bringing Metropolis into the future while trusting his niece, Natasha, to carry the mantle. So we get him and his niece. Steelworks is available in June. So we're going to get a Steel book.
Good for them. Make it. Get Louis Simonson to write it, and we're golden.
And that's what they've announced. They've announced all the way out to June.
Right. And like, you know, for them, there's not a lot of Batman. You know, they didn't talk about the main book, and they didn't talk about Detective. You know why? Because they ain't broke.
I think that's what they're gonna do. I think there's gonna be all the books that need a good reboot or haven't been around a while. Shazam, Green Arrow, Green Lantern. They're gonna be like, all right, cool. Those are all gonna be a part of this initiative, and it's gonna be like New 52. But Batman, Detective, they're going to stay as is. You know what I mean?
So it's going to be like New 52.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, think about it. When Failsafe is done, that'll probably be a soft reboot for Batman to bring Chip Zdarsky where he wants him to go. So
unless he's done, Chip doesn't need anything. So he's like, if he's done with his book, he might be like, all right, good luck, whoever.
I hope not. I hope he's the main Batman writer during this period.
I'm really enjoying Failsafe, so I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone wants to give a shit. Oh, it's happening again. But like I said, it's going to happen with every writer, guys. That's like the biggest thing you can do with Batman. Remove the city.
Right? Like, who said that? Are you reading it?
That's actually probably one of the best things that could happen to Batman is keep the same writer, because then you don't have to worry about another writer going, no, I want to do my version of that story.
Seriously.
Yeah. So
like,
Dan,
right?
Now the reason I wanted you on the show is to get your opinion, because you review these on a weekly basis. But also, I wanted to get your opinion on how you feel about another soft reboot. Because you, as a brand new reader who's only been into comics since like 2015, maybe 14, you've now been through like 4 reboots in DC.
Honestly, my concern about this is the fact that there are other DC titles that I like that were not mentioned in this that make me go, are those gone? Are they going to be affected by this? Are they going to, like, what's going to be happening to all these other projects? As for the ones in this article, though, most of them sound pretty entertaining. The Shazam one, I'm not even going to pretend like that one sounds super interesting to me, because it doesn't.
It just sounds like the same thing Shazam always does.
They're turning him into a time traveler, where he uses the Rock of Eternity to travel through time. No,
okay.
It's interesting, but no thanks.
But you don't want to read it. Yeah.
What about the chat's picking up all the books that weren't mentioned, and some of these are good ones. What about Titans, Teen Titans, Justice League? No mention.
Well, I heard a thing, and I don't know if I mean I know I read it someplace, and I read it with a thing where they were like, there was a citation, maybe, I don't remember, where it was like they're going to focus more on the Titans than the Justice League. Like the Titans are going to be the new Justice League for the time being, and that's not a bad idea given the fact that like the Justice League book doesn't sell anymore. So why not just retire the title for a little while? But again,
then
like,
you can make it a big deal when they officially reform. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, exactly. And that'll sell a little bit. So like, what DC needs to do is get in front of it and have a person come out and be like, "Let's do a town hall Q&A, and I'll answer your questions."
I mean, that's really what they need, because there's quite a few things that are just missing from the whole setup right now. That makes me question what the hell's going on.
I also the other thing is, because I was thinking about this with the like Cyborg part, the fact that everyone else like has details and stuff, but he has nothing. I'm wondering if a lot of things aren't being said yet because they are going to, you can't talk about it without spoiling something that's about to come. Like if Brainiac's going to be a big deal and we're getting the Lazarus planet, but we don't know anything about Cyborg, maybe Cyborg is going to get fused with Brainiac somehow or something like that.
That is a crazy awesome theory.
Right? How cool would that be? Yeah. Anyway, there's that kind of thing. So I'm thinking a lot of that might be coming out of the Lazarus planet. But I mean, we'll see.
We'll see. But again, getting back to the beginning of this whole conversation, it's
what about
like
the Nightwing book. Someone else brought that up.
I guarantee it doesn't change, because I'm sure it's selling well, and I'm sure that although Nightwing is in the sky being like ripped apart in the cover of their Dawn of DC, so like who knows what he's going to do in that series?
Yeah,
but DC needs to get ahead of it.
He's going to go to heaven with Wonder Woman and then come back a few issues later.
Yeah, he'll be gold and 100 feet tall. I think that what DC needs to do is just get in front of it and be like, ladies and gentlemen, like, you stoke the fires, get people. If anyone is hyped about this, keep it going, hype them up more, tease what's coming, maybe release a bit of art, do the Rebirth move. Remember Rebirth? Marvel and DC will never not be trying to catch the highs of the Rebirth announcement and the Secret Wars era. Just being like,
New 52 announcement too. Regardless of love it or hate it, that
New
announcement.
52.
Yeah, that's what they want again. They want that.
Yeah. They'll never get it.
No, they would have to officially announce we're restarting DC. They would have to do that again. That's the only reason that worked that time.
Yeah, but if they did, it would not work because their audience is done. They're tired. They're sick of it.
And I agree with you on that one. I don't think it's time for them to do a New 52 style reboot because it only happened 11 years ago. Like,
right.
If you do that, you have to officially state, like, we are doing a reboot of DC, but this time it is a 5-year plan that will lead to another reboot. Like, you would have to come out and say, this is intended because we are telling a contained 5-year DC storyline.
Yes. Here's the creative teams. Here's the art. Here's some promos. Yeah. Like, we're ahead of the game. We're 6 months ahead. Yeah. But
Rebirth, that one worked as well, and it doesn't require a full reboot. You're just being like, we're bringing back what you want, which is kind of what Josh Williamson's doing, which is why I'm like, why are you not telling anyone?
Talk about it on screen. But Dawn of DC sounds exciting.
I'm excited. Yeah. What about you, Dan?
I'm excited.
All right. Sounds like we're all excited.
We're all excited. Well, thank you for watching today's episode of Absolute Comics. Again, reminder, we will still be making kind of half episodes, and we'll be recording them on Mondays, and then after January, we'll be back to normal, but until then, things are going to be a little wonky. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time right here.